Ho ho ho, B2B Santa here, and welcome to day 13 of the B2B Christmas calendar of 2025. In today's unwrapped gift, the topic is going to be automated lead qualification. So, a lot of companies we see they struggle with asking the question which leads should we focus on and which leads should we discharge or discount overall. So basically fixing the issue of what leads to focus on and where to put the resources. And in today's lesson and in today's, let's say, gift or package, you're going to get the system that you can build or use to qualify your leads based on your ICP, your target audience, and your ideal customer. So let's get into it. So on the page right now, you will be able to see the 6-part process that we will go through. But in this video, I'm going to go through each and every one of them. So I'm going to show you or go through the overview or the things that you need. Then I'm going to go through the N8N template that we use to build this lead qualification process. You will also have access to this N8N template. You will have access to a Google Sheet template that you can use to handle this. And you will have access to a custom GPT, which you can use to really define your ICP and then use it. And we are going to use two different sources for leads. We're going to use GetSales and we're going to use LeadShark. So GetSales is the outbound campaign system that we run, which we covered during day 6. And you will have the LeadShark, so basically handling LinkedIn posts, which was something that we covered in day 7. So down below, you will have a link to both of those to watch those and go through and unwrap those gifts if you haven't already done so. So basically, the process that we're going to go through is that there are two sources we use for leads enrichment. These are the two sources that will be relevant for you if you run outbound or inbound on LinkedIn. If you run any sort of outbound, we always recommend using GetSales because GetSales is, in our opinion, the best software to run outbound. If you run inbound on LinkedIn, you're going to do posts on LinkedIn and using LeadShark to handle those engagement and extract people from LinkedIn. You can, however, use other methods to get your leads and prospects. For example, you have tools that can extract the commenters of someone else's post, but we don't recommend using that strategy. But it is a strategy that you can use. So those are the two sources. When it comes to GetSales, there really are 2 or 4 segments you can create. So it's going to be all people you connect with, all people that doesn't accept a connection request, all people you connect with who replies to the messages, and all people you connect with who doesn't reply to your messages. And these will be 4 webhooks that we're going to set up inside of the N8N template so that you can set up a flow for each and every one of those. Now, the second source is LeadShark, and that's if you post things on LinkedIn. We covered that during day 7, and you should be able to fetch that and open that by clicking the link up here. And with LeadShark, we can add a webhook so that we can get every commenter and every one that comes on the post extracted from LeadShark, and I'm going to show you how to set that up inside of LeadShark so that you can do that. And we do have a discount code for LeadShark, so if you want that, we're going to add that in here as well. Now, the next step is we have this N8N template, which does a couple of things. So we have the lead ingestion at the top. So up here, then we have the processing of leads from LeadShark to enrich those, because everyone from GetSales is already enriched. And then we have the scraping of the website of the company and using an AI agent to qualify them. And all of that is then stored and updated within this table. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show how to build and use this setup in here so that you can run this yourself. So the next one is going to be you want to define who your target audience is. Who is your ICP? And there are 2 options you have here. First option is you can use the ICP memo produced in day 1 of this Christmas calendar. If you haven't seen that, you can click this link and it will open day 1, where you have a full-on process and prompt for creating your ICP memo. The second way you can do this is that you can use our ICP matrix custom GPT, which you will have a link to down below here. It will bring you here. And this is where you can just help me create my ICP matrix. And it will then go through and ask you questions to define your audience, and it will create your audience for you. So what you then want to do is that you want to answer all the questions that come in here, and you will end up with a spec that is your ICP matrix. So that's something you need to do. The next one is Rapid API. So Rapid API is the source we use to scrape and enrich the leads and with the data that we need from LinkedIn. This is when we use the LeadShark as the lead source and not GetSales. Because GetSales does that enrichment automatically if you run outbound through GetSales. But if you run inbound, meaning you post a link and you use the LeadShark to attract your leads, you preferably want to use Rapid API to scrape those leads of their profile, but also the company that they have and that they're working in, so that you can not only qualify the lead, but you can also qualify the account, meaning the company. You can run this for free, but you will only be limited to 25 leads a month, which is highly limited. But if you pay $40 a month, you will have access to run this 15,000 times, so that should be far more than what you really need. And there is an alternative where you run this in GetSales. So even if you run outbound or inbound, you can use GetSales for that enrichment. But that is a way more elaborate and custom setup, which we do when we work one-to-one with customers and companies like you, where we build this entire engine and the full-fledged strategy for generating leads, outbound, inbound, and nurturing on the back end. So we can't really spoil the beans on that in this particular video. But Rapid API is one of the sources that we use for data. Then you have OpenRouter. That's really just the AI. So instead of going to OpenAI, going to Google with Gemini, or Anthropic with Claude, we use OpenRouter, which is a platform and aggregator of all different LLMs so that you can select which one you want to use. You would need a credit card in here, but OpenRouter has a lot of free models, which you can use at the rate limit. So we have a video here that you can watch to see how to create your account and also get the API key. And then it is putting it all together. So let's go through the video, or go through the process really, for how to do that. So in N8N, you will be able to download this if you click the download N8N template. That will bring you to a Google Drive that we have, where you can download this, and you can just import from file and select the file that you downloaded from Google Drive. And there are a couple of things. So first thing you want to do is that you want to open this link, which basically is this page, where you click file and make a copy. Then you have the template for enrichment. The next step is that you want to integrate your N8N account with Google Sheets. If you have N8N and you already done this, amazing. If you haven't, we've recorded a tutorial here that you can click on and watch how to connect Google with N8N. The next one is, again, the Rapid API scraper account. So what you do is that you click this link, you create your account, you subscribe, either for the free plan, or you can do the paid for $40, and you copy your API Rapid API key. I can't show you that because then I need to revoke my key for all of my accounts, and that's something I don't want. Next is the ingestion. So let us take, this is wrong, this is LeadShark. Let us do LeadShark first. So I have a webhook here that has a URL. What you want to do is you want to ensure that this is post, and you want to copy the production URL, and that's what you want to add. So in LeadShark, you can go to settings, you can go to webhook settings, show and create webhooks, give this just a lead qualification workflow, and paste in the URL. What I often end up doing as well is I copy the URL of the flow itself and I add that into the name. Because then I know that as this system grows, I will always have the interlinking URLs so that I can open that. You want this to be new comments and create webhook. I already have some, so I can't really add it now, but that's where you add it. Another thing that you want to do is We're going to get back to that. There is a setting to select that it automates your posts. But the next step is you have the data. And in here, what you want to do is you want to see, okay, this is the data that you get from LeadShark. And this basically is processed in a couple of ways. So first one, you need to update this with a template that you duplicated. So you need to connect your account according to the video, and you need to ensure that it selects the template, selects the sheet leads, and profile URL is the LinkedIn URL. You can define this LinkedIn URL on the left side by just dragging that in like that. Once you have that, it will search for it, and then it will check if it exists. You don't need to do anything here. If it doesn't exist, it's going to add that lead to Google Sheet. And again, you need to update this to have the appropriate sheet, the credential, the tab, and these data. And you can get this data by just running the execute previous nodes and dragging those details in here. So that's really the ingestion from LeadShark. Now the question is GetSales. So how can we get leads from GetSales and ensure that we add them in here? Again, we have this webhook. You want to run the production webhook and go to GetSales. In GetSales, you have your settings and webhooks, and you want to create webhook. Lead qualification. You want to choose the webhook event to be custom, export, and add in the URL. And you hit create. Again, what you can do here is that you can hit edit and just have the URL of the workflow in there, because then it's easier for you to find that later and open it as soon as your system just keeps on growing. And for that, what you can is that you can add the test URL and test this, but you have all the data, so you can just use the production one. Now to test it, if you want to test sending a lead to this, you have to use test and click listen for test, or you need to use production and you need to activate the workflow and then go to settings and ensure that save successful is at save. Because what you can do then is that you can go to executions, you can find it, and you can then copy paste this data. But what I recommend is just let this be and use production. The next step then is really that this is going to see if this lead exists. So it's the same search function as in the LeadShark ingestion. This is just going to be a bit different. So this is the LinkedIn URL. Again, you can find that LinkedIn URL from the input, and it is here. And we just drag that in. So it searches for it. If it exists, true, then we don't do anything. If it doesn't exist, it's going to add to Google Sheets. However, as you remember, we had 4 different sources for why people connect or why we bring people in. So what we want to do is that we actually want now, and I'm going to do that live, to take this and add in the different scenarios. So what I want to do is I want to add a set function, or a set edit fields, or set fields here now. So I want to update this. So this is going to be source, and it's going to be data. And for data, I'm just going to drag body in, and I'm going to set this as an object. And source is going to be, this is going to be new connection. And then we want to do another set node, set data and source. And this we want to drag this. So source, new source, and data is going to be data. And the reason why we do this is because then we have the option to add in new webhooks. So new connection. Remember how we had different sources? So we had new connection, we had when people do not connect. And I'm going to show how we integrate that into your outbound campaign in GetSales in a minute. But we are building this as a way for you to dynamically do this. So by doing it this way, you don't need a lot of different workflows for this. So the next one is GetSales not connected. I'm going to change this to post, take the production URL, copy that into GetSales, go to webhook, I'm going to create webhook, paste it in, again custom, and I'm just going to do demo not connected. Then I'm going to do the same here, so new connection, change that to not connected, update that, plug these together. I'm just going to ensure that everything is connected. The next webhook is going to be GetSales connected replied. I'm going to take the production URL, go in here, and we're going to do demo connected replied, meaning it's those that we connect with that actually does reply. And then we have the final one, which is demo connected no reply. And we're just going to do that as well. So we're going to add that as the final one. I'm going to paste that in. So now I'm just going to rename this one connected. Now we have connected, not connected, connected and replied, and connected no reply. So I'm just going to finish this up in here. This is connected replied. Again, you will have this and you will not need this, but I'm going through the process nonetheless. So this means that we will have dynamically, independent of what we extracted the lead from. So if we connected with them, we sent them a request and they did not accept the connection request, they connected and replied, and they connected and never replied through the campaign, we're able to filter on those. And since we set that data, we can dynamically refer to them for every lead. And then in the add lead to Google Sheets, what we want to do is that I'm adding this now. I'm just going to do source, and that will allow me to have a source. And we're just going to do GetSales. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to expression. I'm going to set data and source and drag that in, because that will give me the option of adding that lead with that tag to this. I'm going to see who this really is. I need to update this again to have the LinkedIn URL. And I would need, what I'm going to do in this is I am going to delete this lead, which is the one in question, and you're going to be able to see how it works. We are going to update this. So this is a bit more of just you looking over my shoulder and seeing how this is actually done. So first, well, now we want the name. We want the profile URL, profile username. We want the titles, which is a position. The about is blank. The location, we're going to find that. Netherlands. Profile scrape. Profile details is basically just contacts, all contact details. An account is all company details. We want the company website. And there we go. So now I can save that. So if I were to go back to the sheet, it's going to be added again. But all the way to the right, I can see that this is GetSales new connection. And that is where I can then decide, okay, depending on if it's a new connection, depending on what source it is, I can then, after this enrichment process, send that particular lead to a particular place. So I'm going to just tidy this up a bit. I'm going to move these around. We're going to do it like that. So really what we have now is we have the source of getting them from GetSales. We have the source of getting them from LeadShark. Now it's next step. So in this node, you want to replace your API key. So it's going to look like this for you. But you want to go to OpenRouter or Rapid API, and you want to paste in your API key here. I already have that here, so I don't want to do anything or open this because then you would get my API key. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you how this actually works. So I am going to unpin both of these, because what this does is that this will find every lead that has profile scraped equals blank, meaning there is no value in it. The next is that it's going to limit to only run with 10 profiles at a time so that it doesn't overload or stress the system. It's going to go through one-on-one record. It will then scrape their LinkedIn profile. It will set the company details. It will scrape the company page on LinkedIn, and it will add the scraped profile and company details to Google Sheets. It will wait a bit, and then it will run the next scrape. So meaning profile number 2. So if I were to click on this one, I would get one item. So I want to actually run this. So if I hit run now, it will go through. Now it found one profile. So it found the profile of, so let's actually go back, because we see that we both have the scrape profile already. So I am going to do this. So now we can run it, and it will then run. So now it found the profile of Gamsa, and it then scraped the LinkedIn profile with the API. It set that company details, so DPDK, marketing executive, and this is the company your LinkedIn profile. It then scraped the LinkedIn profile of the company. It saved that to the database or to Google Sheets with all data. It waited, and now it's ready to look for the second one. But since we only found one lead, it only ran with one. If we then go back, we can then see that the profile was scraped, the basic info was scraped, the company was scraped, the website URL was added, and that's step 2. Step 3 will be to fetch all leads where there is no website scrape details, meaning the website hasn't been scraped and the qualification evaluation of the lead hasn't been done. So again, you need to update this one, and this is where you would need your OpenRouter API key. So this is the AI agent, and what you need to do is that you, in this one, OpenRouter chat model, you need to create your own credential, which would then basically be you adding in the API key, and then it would work. So once you have that, what you can do is that you can run it. So it will then fetch all leads where profile and company have been scraped. We have the website URL, but there is no scrape details for the website. It will fetch those. It will run them one by one by scraping the website, turning it to Markdown, which is just more plain text and not the HTML. It will add that scraped web data to the website. If it is too long, it will save that. It will then bring it to the AI agent to evaluate. It will then add a qualification and then wait and run the next one. Just adding the API key is not enough. This is within the AI agent. This is where you need to add your ICP requirement. And this is where you add in your ICP memo from day one, or the ICP matrix that you get from the ICP matrix custom GPT. So once you have added that, we're just going to do it very, very simple. You can then go out and test this. So we want to change this to test min to select this one. As you can see down here, hit enter, and this is then going to go through. So it scraped the website, it added, it went on and added the scraped website details, which you can see here, into the Google Sheet. It is now running the AI agent, which will evaluate the qualification score, the tier, qualification summary, and recommend the next steps. And it will add that to Google. So we're going to wait for this to complete, and then we're going to see what it output. And you don't need to do anything with the prompt except from adding your ICP, because the rest is already built in. So now if we go in, we get a qualification score of 4, low tier fit, area holds a partner style title, do not prioritize for outbound, add to nurture content, AI research of education, and reevaluate if role company changes to a consulting agency sales firm or if they indicate buying intent. So that's an evaluation. So the one thing that you want to make sure of and just check sometimes is you want to just make a bit of the content or the website scrape shorter, because in some instances you can see there's a lot of text in here, and this will in some cases take up a lot of space. What you can do for that is that you can mark everything and change the default height of every single cell, and then you fixed it. That makes it a bit harder to read these ones, but if you build this into a backend system, it will automatically handle that for you. And basically this will then run through and run with every lead that you have in the database that is profile script and website or company script, but not website and not evaluated. So that's really the process, folks. So with this, you will be able to download this template. You now have the full walkthrough. You can set this up with GetSales. There's one thing that I actually wanted to show. So in GetSales, we have a template for an outbound campaign, and I want to show you how to connect those 4 webhooks. So in the campaign that we run, which you should have if you watched the outbound campaign day, is that we have a couple of scenarios. So we have waiting for connection, waiting for connection, waiting for connection. All of those will bring people down to the connected tag. But if they do not connect and we withdraw the connection request, we want to add an action in here. And this is where we add a custom webhook. And this is where we do the not connected. So we add that in there. The next one is when someone are connected, before we send the first message, this is where we send the connected webhook. Now, after connection, we will reply or check if they replied to us. And if they did, they come down here. What we are also doing is that we end the automation if they never end up replying. So on the right side, we have those who replied. So we add custom webhook and connected replied. And under the ones on the left side, we will then add the custom webhook and connected no reply. So that way we can add those 4 webhooks based on if they connected, they never connected, and they connected and replied, and never replied. Again, this is just one part of the full system that we set up for companies, where we set up that outbound campaign, we find your prospects for you, we create the valuable assets which you can post on LinkedIn to use LeadShark to generate hundreds of maybe thousands of leads for your company, so that you can bring them in, you can qualify them, you can save all of them into a database, know which ones are qualified, who are not qualified, and bring them into an automated email nurturing process that keeps them warm, keeps them engaged, makes them more and more loyal and like what you do, which then will bring them into becoming a sales opportunity in your pipeline. So if you're more interested in learning more about that, to then take the step to actually getting sustainability to your marketing efforts, down below there should be a booking calendar. You can schedule a personalized strategy and walkthrough of that entire strategy, where you will talk to my partner Lasse, the other B2B Santa in this Christmas calendar, who will gouge out the best possible strategy and use of that system for your company, so that you can have a 95% AI-driven marketing system that works 24/7. If that's interesting, click down below, find a time, and book a call with Lasse. And one disclaimer for that is that we will ask you to submit more information before the call, and there will be a video for you to watch to get an understanding of the full scope of it all before that call as well. And if you do not submit the information, and also if what you submit tells us that it's not the right fit for your company, we will potentially cancel that call and give you the more appropriate path and things that you can go into, because the system is not something that every company should implement. It is if you're the right type of company, the right size, you have the right resources, and you do the type of right things. But you probably fall within that category. So go down below, click book a call, do all the things, watch the videos after you booked, and then we'll probably speak to you. Aside from that, if you do not want that, so if you feel that I have full control and I have more leads that I need and can handle, then obviously that's not the right choice for you. And then I hope this was a good and useful video for you to learn more about how you can qualify those leads, because you get so many. But if you're honest, do you get that many? But anyway, I hope this was useful. You can find the links for everything down below, and I wish you a merry, merry rest of this December month. Ho ho ho, B2B Santa, checking out.